Hi everyone, this is myth 5. Mankind will achieve a utopian future. Okay, and many people think that we can achieve a future utopia by pushing for transhumanism. So I'm going to read from this book for this video. This is The Conspiracy Against the Human Race, written by Thomas Ligotti, who is a horror writer. Okay, and it talks about transhumanism in one of these chapters, so I'm going to read this out now. As humans conceive transhumanism, transhumanists have conceived posthumanism, a far-off condition in which none will live as we have all these years, but will have evolved into something beyond our present selves. And then what? Have the transhumanists really thought this through? And how could they? We have no idea where our next thought is coming from, not excluding the thoughts of transhumanists. We do have thoughts, but we do not know what we are going to make of them. How then are we to know what to make of ourselves? Maybe we could outdo post-humanity, or at least do something that would not take as long and would be no less useless. But it is not as if being post-human is an idea first conceived in the late 20th century. In its search for the good, or at least the better, it recapitulates our most ancient fantasies. Like a song we feel we have heard, even though we are hearing it for the first time, the machinations of transhumanists call to us from the past, and even from a prehistorical Eden of perfect existence, depending on whether or not one likes their song or cares for a homecoming in Eden. But these machinations also sound like something that was over the moment it began, old, stale, nothing. By definition, transhumanists are dissatisfied with what we are as a species. And I think this is a common theme when we're talking about antinatalism. Many people, they say, oh, but the future's getting better, we're going to move towards, some kind of utopia or something like that. Naturally, that they think that being alive is alright, so much so in fact that they cannot stand the idea of not being alive, and have envisioned strategies for staying alive forever, my precious. Their problem is that they need being alive to be vastly more alright than it is, and the power of positive thinking is not enough to get them where they want to go. They are past all that, or would like to be. They are also past believing in God, or an afterlife of eternal bliss. To a believer, transhumanism would be a useless appendage to what they already believe, as well as an offence against Him who made us as He made us, with nature as the go-between, and long ago laid down the ways in which we can make ourselves better and better. Those ways may be hard to follow, but the alternative is the despair of living without hope of an unimaginably better future. For the believer's alternative to despair, transhumanists have substituted their own. Yet while transhumanists operate on the assumption that we will massively profit when we self-mutate into post-humans, the upshot of their program is still unknown. It could begin a dynamic new chapter in the history of our race, or it could trumpet the end of us. Either way, the prophesized leap will be jump-started by all manner of gadgetry, and will somehow involve artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, genetic engineering, and other habiliments of high technology. These will be the instruments of the new Genesis, the Logos of tomorrow, or so says one desperate group of scientific thinkers. For a less desperate group of scientific thinkers, posthumanism is a chimera and will not occur. We will go on with our lives as stumblebums of the same old story. Understandably, the transhumanist view is more arousing than old fogey humanism, precisely because an apocalypse has been inserted as a wild card. In this sense, transhumanism is a secular retelling of the Christian rapture, and some of its true believers foresee it as happening within the lifetime of many who are alive today, like Ray Kurzweil, for example. Just as the early Christians believed in an impending judgment day. Perhaps at some time in the future such predictions will not have to take into account eschatological contingencies, and we can all relax, sure in the knowledge that day by day, in every way, we are getting made better and better. Transhumanism encapsulates a long-lived error among the headliners of science. In a world without a destination, we cannot even break ground on our Tower of Babel, and no amount of rush and hurry on our part will change that. That we are going nowhere is not a curable condition. That we must go nowhere at the fastest possible velocity just might be curable, though probably not. And what difference would it make to retard our progress to nowhere? Zapf reviled technological advancements and the discoveries to which they led, since those interested in such things would be cheated of the distraction of finding them out for themselves at whatever pace they chose. Every human activity is a tact for killing time, and it seems criminal to him that people should have their time already killed for them by explorers, inventors, and innovators of every stripe. Zapf himself reserved his leisure hours for that most purposive time killer, mountain climbing. As we should know by now, it isn't as easy to make fun of religious or scientific visionaries as it is to idolize them. Which attitude is adopted depends on whether or not they tell you what you want to hear. Given the excitements promised by the transhumanism, odds are that it will collect a clientele of hopefuls who want to get a foot in the future, but nobody doubts that tomorrow will be better than today. Yet one possibility transhumanists have not wrestled with is that the ideal being standing at the end of evolution may deduce that the best of all possible worlds is useless, if not malignant. So, yeah, I mean, I've already come to that conclusion by using inductive logical reasoning. So, I think there's a fair chance that people are going to appreciate this in the future. Where was I? And that the self-extinction of our future selves would be the optimal course to take. They have also failed to reflect upon those aspects of the scientific worldview which may be damaging to our mental well-being. I will go into these sorts of things in future videos. In that case, transhumanists will not get as far as stage 1 in their mission before they must head back to the conspiracy against the human race and be re-educated in the art of self-deceptive paradox. We're not all capable of self-deceptive paradox, humans, and the conspiracy against the human race is the intellectual blackmail that would oblige us to be eternally grateful for a gift we never invited. None of us ever invited the gift of life. Hideous.